Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Okay, sisters, so let's talk about the shitstorm that is this. Marriage plus kids plus business. Like, it's a lot with one of those things, let alone you put all of those three things together. So today, my husband and I had shot a Facebook Live, actually on his Facebook page. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put the link to that if you want to watch it in the show notes. But we had this discussion. We thought this was a relevant one to talk about, particularly since we are looking at doing some form of coaching together. We don't know exactly how that looks yet, but we've had so many people say to us, do you guys coach together? So my husband is a brilliant business coach, and I, of course, coach on mindset. And so we've had a lot of people come to us say, why don't you guys do something together? And we've heard it so many times. We're like, okay, let's actually explore this. And when I spoke at Ed's live event about 4 weeks ago in Vancouver, BC, amazing. Like, I forgot how great we are when we work together as we did in practice. We were both in chiropractic practice together. So that'll be something coming up early 2017. I will let you know here as well. However, we want to talk about this discussion because today, our 3-year-old Kai, who didn't look all that well last night when he went to bed, we're like, he'll feel great in the morning. Woke up this morning, it was a no-go, like just really deep cough. He's got kind of watery eyes. He's lethargic. He's 3. You know how it is when if they're like that age when they're sick, they're just kind of like they're just hanging out. He still is like kind of such a happy little dude, so he still kind of like plays for a little bit and he crashes. But this morning it was apparent that he needs to he can't go to daycare today, clearly. And so for Ed and I, who work from home and are both coaches and have other personal appointments and calls with clients and calls with potential clients, like it's a shit show when these things come up. Now, it's not often. This is the first time it's happened actually this school year. Yeah, this is the first time in this quarter, the last 4 months, this has come up. But it happens sometimes, right? Our kids are healthy. We take good care and we're careful what goes in their bodies and their sleep and schedule, all that kind of stuff, but it still happens sometimes. And so what do? We don't have parents to call. We don't have family to come watch our kids. We don't have friends that can even watch our kids. Actually called our nanny service we've used before and even take a look at for tomorrow, because as I record, this is on a Thursday, so Friday's still a work day for us. And our oldest Tyson is in school, so that's still just fine. But we're like can't even get they're like booked because we're getting close to the holiday season too. So we're about a week and a bit from Christmas. So we're like, okay, what do we need to shuffle around? What needs to stay as far as our appointments? What can we cancel? What can we reschedule? I'll tell you one thing, if anything, it teaches you when you're juggling these three is that it really, I'm going to say forces, but really, I'm going to actually rephrase that and say it allows you the opportunity to get so clear on what you want that you remove all the rest, right? And so, for example, there are things that I get asked to do, be guests on podcasts, be part of, different virtual summits and come speak. And there's a couple of things I actually just turned down recently that would have been very significant. And it just simply doesn't work. We're looking at our schedule. And when Ed's going to be away in 2017, the first 4 months or so, and when I'm away, when a couple times we're both away together, I'm just like, babe, like this doesn't work for me to come down and speak at this event as well in New York. Like it just doesn't. We're getting sitters for like 2. We don't even have anyone that we know for sure can come watch the kids. And like, no, it doesn't work for me. So I'm clear that I don't want to be away from my kids more than once a month. Now, for what Ed and I do, we could say, well, we're never going to travel and we're never going to go out to speak and we'll do everything virtually. And that would be just fine if it's what we wanted. But, what we want is we want to be able to go to events to speak and to share our message. We want to be able to be coached to being around other like-minded entrepreneurs, which really help us grow, become better coaches. And guess what? The stuff that we do too, we also become better spouses, better parents, better us, better Karen and Ed. So it gets you so clear. And on days like today, when Kai's been home, like even more so, it's like, okay, like what matters the most right now, right? Right now, as I record this, Ed's going to pick up our oldest boy, Tyson, at school. Kai is falling asleep. He's having like a good nap. I'm like, oh, yes, buddy, sleep, healing sleep, get it. And, but the honest thing is, and we talked about this on the Facebook Live as well too, is like, there's no secret formula to juggling those three things: marriage, kids, and business. There isn't. But it starts with, guess what I'm going to say, what I talk about, and it seems like probably every other, maybe every third episode, you have to be clear on what you want. See, for the longest time, I told the story of how a lot of women do, and this is maybe true for you, and this is no judgment, but I kind of sang the whole song of like, oh, I feel so pulled. I really want to be with the kids. I really want to be working. Like, I feel like I can't be me, and I just feel pulled in all these directions. Until I just got really clear. And I, by the way, I could go all in way more with business than I could with the kids in a heartbeat. To the point of earlier this year when I was at my own coaching program, I realized that I was putting business ahead of my family, my husband and my boys. That was a very hard thing to realize. It was a very hard thing to admit. It's even hard to kind of say it now, but that's the truth. And so I got very clear in that moment that the way that I was currently living my life would not give me the outcome that I wanted. It just wouldn't. And so I started to make some serious changes. This is when we also, too, we started a more serious conversation about closing a chiropractic practice. It did not work for me to not be home until 6:30 at night, 3 evenings a week, because I was in our practice. And I didn't see my kids of those 3 days. 2 of them, I didn't see them the entire day, because I was there early in the morning before the kids woke up. And so I got them for like the last hour of the day, the not good last hour of the day. And you know what that's like if you're a parent. They're tired and cranky, and so are we right at that time. It didn't work for me. It allowed me to start to make the shifts in my life because I was so clear on what I wanted. I was so clear on the relationship I wanted with my sons, and it wasn't happening that way. It also wasn't happening that way when I was in a network marketing business at times, late at night, teaching essential oil classes in people's living rooms and sitting there going like, in my head going, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, this does not work for me. Now, I found other ways to make it work and did webinars, did things online, and didn't have to do it. But that was the first piece of just like, I decided I'm like, no more evening classes. Like, this is bullshit. Not doing this. No more weekends. It'll all be during the day virtually, and that was it. And then it got even more so. I was just like, man, there's so much work involved in this, and I'm unwilling to pull people along who are not willing to do the work. Like, this no longer worked for me. No longer worked for me. I just got really, really clear. And all of this allowed us to be able to close our chiropractic practice. Like, I don't even mean like sell, by the way. I've heard me mention this before. We didn't sell. We literally closed the door, had to clear everything out, had to negotiate a lease, which we were still on for another 15 months. Like, it was a big fucking deal to do this. We made zero money. We lost money by doing this. And our colleagues would think we're crazy. Well, you should have waited around and waited for someone to buy. It's like, dude, we've been on the practice a year. Like, it was time for us to move. The cost for us financially and emotionally to stay in that was far greater than the financial cost of doing what we did. So that's why we did what we did. We also said we don't want to live in Alberta. We don't want to live in someplace else. So we moved here to BC. Now, it wasn't so easy. It wasn't really steps 1, 2, 3, but this is what we wanted. And you need to realize that in order to, if you're with marriage, kids plus business, that in order for you to find a way for this to work, you have to be really clear on what you want in all 3 of those areas. What do you want your marriage to look like? What do you want it to look like with your kids? What do you want your business to look like? Like, clearly, what are the measurable, realistic outcomes with a deadline? And also know why that those really need to happen. And so here's one more piece that I would add to this, sister, is this. You need to decide what it is that you want for you. Like, not based on how you think you're supposed to show up as a mom, not based on how you think you're supposed to show up as a wife, is how you think you're supposed to show up in your business for your clients, but like really like how you want to. See, one of the most fulfilling things for my husband and I is we design and create our life. It's up to us. It's always up to us. It's always up to you. But we have the time and financial freedom and the flexibility of what we do to create however we want it. So we don't have to, I don't have a boss. I get to design it. If we have days like this, as again, rarely happens, but when the boys is home sick, we're able to do these things. When we were in practice, even though we were business owners, totally different story. We might have 50, 100 people on the schedule for that day. It was a gong show to reschedule everybody. And guess what the conversation often was? You know what? Hey, I'm really sorry, but Dr. Karen can't come and one of her kids is sick and she doesn't have any help to, she doesn't have anyone else to to watch them. So she's, needs to be home with, it was like an apology for showing up as a mom. Which is I look back on that and I go, that was such bullshit. Now, I just let people know. I cannot make that call. I'm homesick with my little boy. Let's find a better time. There's no apologies. I'm not sorry for it. I'm honored that I get to be mom to these two incredible boys. That comes first. I come first, then my marriage, then my children, then business. I love what I do. I love delivering this message to you, sister. But I clearly know that me and my husband and my boys are the number ones in my life. That's it. And so I'm gonna act accordingly. I'm gonna make decisions based on that. Because I know what I want, I know why it matters, and I'm willing to commit to doing whatever it takes to get these things that I want. And that means that priorities are handled. Life becomes easier, sister, when you know clearly what you want. So let me see, more tip for you today. Oh gosh, I'm going to have you open up your journal and just write down what is it that you want? So if you were this trifecta, we'll call this marriage, kids. So you're a wife, you're a mother, and you're a business owner / entrepreneur. What do you want all these things to look like in your life? Clearly, what do you want? Clearly, what is that? And for you, this might be the first time that you're having this conversation with yourself and really doing this deep work and asking these questions. So don't worry about if it's the right answer and I don't know for sure and what, just write. What do I want my marriage? If it could be anything of what you want it to be, and don't stop yourself on that. Can it happen or how will it happen? But just to clearly define, what is it that I want in my marriage? What do I want it to look like? And why does that matter? And how do I want it to look like with relationship with my children? And why does that matter? And what do I want my business to look like? And why does that matter? Why is that important? If you are willing to do this work, if you're willing to continually ask yourself these questions, sister, you can create what you want and you can figure out how to make it work for you. Yes, even if you are married with kids and have a business or an entrepreneur in some way. Yes, it's not easy. Life is not easy, sister. But you were given this life to live. And you can spend it whining and moaning and bitching and complaining and saying life done you wrong and it's so hard. Or you can decide to really see things differently, to see these opportunities, to be so fucking thankful for the life you have. I am. It took me a while to get to really understand and really say that. The challenges come up and they suck. And I go, there's something here for me to see. I'm not asking you to be me. Do you be you? But I'm just going to have you consider that the stories that we paint about, oh my God, it's so hard. And it is. Married, kids, business. Maybe it's a lot of the stories that actually cause this and not necessarily what is the actual reality of what's going on. Let's have you consider that. And here's what else I'm going to have you consider is the opportunity to watch a powerful movie about 6 incredible women that I had the honor to lead in my Women Wanting More live event in October of this year of 2016 here in Victoria, BC, Canada. So I'm going to invite you to actually watch this movie. So you're going to head over to drkarenosborne.com/live event. You're going to enter in your name and email. You'll get immediate access to watch the movie. It's just under 7 minutes. In addition, you're going to get the post-event, the after party, if you will, interviews with 5 of these 6 women to really hear, like, what's it like then 4 weeks later, 5, 6 weeks later? Like, how are the results still there? Are they still in that place of power, which all of them actually talk about in the movie? Sorry, spoiler alert on that one, but they're all going to talk about that towards the end. It's amazing the shifts that happen in 2.5 days, just 2.5 days with these 6 like amazing, incredible, powerful women. Now, if you're watching this and you're just like, you feel called, as I was just on the phone with someone today saying, I feel like I really need to be the next live event. It's like, cool. Let's find a way to make that happen for you then. So if you're feeling that, I want you to click on the button which says click here to apply for the next live event. It's currently 50% full for the next event in January. Some of you had said to me, by the way, like, well, I'll go to the next one. I don't know when the next one will be. I mean, things are changing so quickly with my coaching practice. Like, there might not be another one. I think there will be, but I don't know. I don't know at this point. I'm open to the possibility of things being whatever that they need to be based on what I want. So if you're feeling this, there are currently 3 seats. That's it. There's only 6 women that will be at this live event. Then you need to click on the button. You're going to fill out the application. And I will then get on the phone with you in the next 48 hours and have a powerful conversation. Really listen and see if you are a fit. So I will talk then on the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.